Hello, everyone. I'm Jessie with RDJ Rocks, and today I have with me Roberta from the Bridal Finery. I'm so excited to have her here and pick her brain about everything to do with finding the perfect wedding dress. Thank you so much, Roberta, for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you and share a little bit of my bridal knowledge with everyone.
Yes, this is such an important topic, right? For every bride.
Yeah.
Like the dress is I think one of the biggest deals when it comes to visioning your wedding. So tell us about the Bridal Finery. Tell us what's the bride experience like shopping for their wedding dress there?
Yeah, so the Bridal Finery was established just about 3 years ago, which I still cannot believe. And this May, we opened our second location. It's actually located directly across the parking lot from our original location. So the Bridal Finery is a one fitting room bridal experience. We are, myself and the other owner, Tali, we are the ones helping our brides directly. We help our brides find their wedding dress. We block off about 2.5 hours for the appointment. Some brides take a little bit less time, some brides take a little bit longer, but the average time a bridal appointment is at another boutique is about an hour. Which for us is a little rushed. So we definitely wanted to make sure that our experience was a little bit more tailored for our brides. We want to get to know our brides. We want to get to know her family that's coming in with her. And we just want to not rush our brides in and out of the store. So when we started to grow and, realized that we didn't have enough appointments available for our brides, we decided to open a second location across the parking lot versus going into a bigger space. That way we can still host 2 private appointments at the same time.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. So they make a reservation ahead of time and it's literally only them and their family in the store
Exactly.
for up to 2.5 hours.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. That's great because it's a lot of pressure, right? Like picking out and trying on a dress. I want to be all alone when I do that. That's awesome.
I know. I always tell my brides that, honestly, finding a wedding dress is as hard as the bride makes it. It's as easy as putting on something you love and moving on. There are 500 other decisions for you to make on your wedding day. And for the wedding day itself, why are you going to sit on it for so long? You found something you love, get it, move on, check it off the list.
Yeah. So do you guys do alterations in-house too?
Yeah, so we do have an in-house seamstress at our boutique. We do things a little bit different here too, because we do offer dresses off the rack. We offer our brides different ways of shopping. We have a huge selection of dresses to be purchased off the rack that have never been used before. It's just a collection of dresses that were sent to us, kind of like Nordstrom's rack to Nordstrom. So they were sent to us from overflow inventory from the designers, other bridal boutiques. So we do have an in-house seamstress. She's an actual dressmaker. So she can size a dress up and she can size it down tremendously. So and also during your fittings, one of our team members will be here assisting our bride with her dress fitting, answering questions. If we're doing custom changes, there's a diagram. We'll literally print out a photo of her in her dress and sketch on it to show the seamstress. So that way, the seamstress know what she's walking into, and everything that the bride and myself or Tali talked about, everything gets documented. So It just makes the process a little bit easier for our brides.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing because I've been married and then I've gone wedding dress shopping with a few of my friends, and you try something on and you're like, okay, but what if the strap did this? And it's so hard to envision it. So I love that you sketch it out. That's
for
really
sure.
helpful,
and even when talking about custom changes, we'll literally, if you're talking about a strap or something adding on to the dress, we'll literally grab straight pins and fabric and pin it onto the bride and onto the dress so she sees what it will ultimately look like. We want all the custom changes, our brides, to be able to visualize them beforehand as well.
Yeah, you have to be confident in those and what's possible before committing to the dress, obviously.
100%.
Shannon wants to know, how do you handle the FOMO? I have a hard time deciding on anything in one shot.
Hi, Shannon. So FOMO is just one of those things that will always be there. I always tell my brides that when you find your wedding gown, one, you should be completely obsessed with it. You should be obsessed with your dress. You shouldn't want to take it off the date that you purchase it. And just go to your Pinterest board and delete that Pinterest board that says wedding dresses.
That's a good
Delete
idea.
every photo on your phone of every other wedding dress that you've tried on. I also encourage people to stop following hashtags that has to do with wedding dresses and just follow your bridal store and just know that every time that you put your dress back on, the excitement will be back. So
I love that.
That's how I think you should handle it. But
I love that's actually, I mean, I'm like oohing and awing, but that's really good advice because I follow, like, I'm in a lot of bridal like Facebook groups and stuff. And I know even for me, I picked out the first dress I tried on. And then 6 months down the line, I had what everybody kind of calls dress regret, where I had a moment of like, did I pick the right one? And it was probably because I had 1,000 pictures still on my phone of all these other types of dresses. You know, Facebook was showing me ads for 1,000 other types of dresses. So to eliminate all that will probably help ease some of that. Did I get the right one?
For sure. And to make it easy too, like we always encourage our brides that if you're like having that thought and like, oh my gosh, did I pick the right dress? It happens. It is normal. And when you put your dress back on, you will realize you're like, oh my gosh, no, I was freaking out for no reason. So we always encourage our brides, like anytime you want to try on your dress, come on in, book an appointment, text myself or Tali and schedule a time to come back in and try it on again. Why not?
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. That's great. So when a bride comes in, do you ask when they get there? Do you ask beforehand, like what style they want? How do you pick their brain to get the right dress in their hands?
That's such a good question. So when you book an appointment at the Bridal Finery, what we actually do is we start the conversation from that moment. We call all of our brides, we'll text all of our brides, and send emails. So usually that conversation will start via text and we'll get some ideas of what the bride is looking for. We'll ask all of our brides for their Instagram handles too, so we can study a little bit of her style. If she's a girl that doesn't really wear like pencil skirts or fitted dresses or short skirts, she's not going to come in and want a mermaid dress. That's just not realistic. So it gives us ideas of what she's looking for when she comes in as well. And then when the bride actually arrives in our boutique, we do we call it a sit down with our brides. We just chat with them, just ask them a little bit more about their wedding, ask her family and friends about her everyday style so we can get to know her a little bit more. So we do a little bit of a lot of like legwork beforehand.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then do you pull options? Do you let the bride and their family go around and pull options? Who's like pulling dresses?
Yeah, so at the Bridal Finery, we're honestly all about doing what's right for each individual bride. We don't think that our brides are the same. We have learned throughout the years. I've been doing this for 10 years, and Tali, the other owner, has been doing this for about 15 years. So we've learned throughout the years that everybody's different. Everyone shops different. Everyone makes decisions differently. So everyone has their own way. And some brides will literally just like, pull dresses for me. You're the expert, pull dresses for me. And then we'll pull dresses. Some brides want to do it together and some brides want to do it on their own. Of course, we'll always make suggestions and then we let the bride decide whether or not she wants to try it on.
That's awesome. Could not agree more. Every bride is different.
Every bride is different.
Yeah. Tell me about the most memorable wedding dress shopping experience you've done in your career. Like good, bad, interesting, funny.
Yeah, this one's always hard for me because I think honestly, helping brides for as long as you have, there's always a story. There's always something fun that happens. There's always, every bride finding her dress is such a special moment for me that it's just, I don't know, it's just different for every bride that comes in. I definitely have found that the brides that I have the best time with are the ones that I can connect with a little bit more before their appointment. Mm-hmm. If that conversation starts a little bit earlier and they're open to having that conversation earlier, those brides are always a little bit more fun, just because we've gotten to know each other over, a few days, sometimes a few weeks or months even. So it's really fun, like seeing the bride's reaction when she finds her dress every time it's just amazing, honestly.
That's awesome. I love that you kind of get to know them and text them and talk to them. I mean, I know when I was planning my wedding, I felt like I had like wedding word vomit, where all I wanted to do was talk about my wedding. So I can only imagine how excited these brides would be to be like, yeah, I want to text you about what I'm going to wear all day long.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And that's what we're here for, honestly. Like, we're here just to hear you out and help you find the perfect dress. That's it.
That's awesome. How often does a bride walk into the store expecting to like one style and then leaves with a totally different style?
That's such a good question. I think that happens 90% of the time.
Really?
Like, I think most of our brides will come with something in mind, whether it's a neckline they were set on or a fabric or a shape, and they will just walk out with something completely different. What you have to remember is that when you're looking at these photos online, you're looking at photos of other women in these dresses, different body shapes, different heights, different hair color, different skin complexion, different everything. So when you put it on, it's always different. The reaction's always going to be different because you're not them. So, and the dress will look different on you.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so funny that I was not expecting it to be 90% of the time. I thought you were going to be like 1 out of every 10.
No, most of our brides walk out with something completely different than what they came in looking for.
Yeah, that's awesome. What kind of questions do you ask brides who come in and they're like, I have no idea what I want?
So we ask them about their everyday style. Where do you normally shop? What do you normally wear? Sometimes I'll even ask my bride, like, what is your favorite outfit you've worn like the past 6 months? What did you feel the most beautiful and confident is? And that will tell us a lot. Another question I love to ask is about the venue. Tell me a little bit about the venue, where the wedding is at, and tell me about colors and feel for the wedding, because sometimes that will give me ideas on what kind of dress to go for. So all of those, and a lot of the times it's just knowing body shapes, and it's not sizes. It's just knowing what body shapes, because in the end of the day, as women, we're going to buy whatever we look in the mirror and we're like, man, I look hot.
Yeah.
That's what we're buying. We're not buying that image in our head that says like, oh, I should wear this, or I really liked this photo, so that's the style that I want. We're gonna buy whatever we look in the mirror like, whoa, I look good. That's okay.
Do brides have like a tell for when you can tell before they've even said yes? Like you're like, oh yeah, this is the one, she's saying yes.
Yes, 100%. It's body language. It's always body language. Every time a bride tells me she's in between 2 dresses, I always know which one they are leaning towards. Wow. A lot of it's posture. You will see, because we'll go back and forth between the favorites a few times. And every time she puts her favorite on, her posture changes. She all of a sudden stands a little bit taller. Her eyes get a little bit bigger. Her smile is just a little big. And one thing that always happens, they start petting their dress. They'll start like touching their dress. So it's really fun and interesting. Yeah.
Do you tell them when they're like, oh, I'm not sure, and then they start doing this, and you're like, P.S., you're doing the thing that like means that's the one? Do you tell them, or do you let them come to their like conclusion on their own?
It depends. Again, everyone's so different. Some brides want our input and they want us to tell her what we think and what we are seeing. And in that case, I will absolutely share. But if it's a bride that does not want my opinion, she wants me to kind of just hang back, that's what I'll do. I'm here to help my brides however they want to be helped. So
that's awesome. My tell is that I start dancing. If I like something that I'm trying on, I immediately start dancing. My mom has said that about me always. And with my wedding dress, they were like, oh, she's dancing. That's how you know.
It works, yeah.
Yep. What is something that no one warns a bride about when it comes to picking out a wedding dress?
Ooh, that everyone will have a different reaction when they find their dress. I think a lot of brides come in expecting something to happen. They have an idea in their head of what finding their dress should feel like and what finding their dress should be like. And just because your friend or your sister or your cousin started crying or jumped or danced, it doesn't mean that you're going to have those same reactions. And most of our brides come in and they find their dress their first time in. And it's usually one of the first 3 dresses our brides try on.
Wow.
That is normally what happens in our store. And it's because we take the time to ask them questions to get to know them.
Yeah. Wow. I love that advice. I think setting aside all your expectations is so important. That way you don't set yourself up for like disappointment. I know like I've gone, I found my dress on the first try. And then I went shopping where I was a bridesmaid and she went with me, and her only experience of wedding dress shopping was seeing me get it on the first try. So when that didn't happen for her, she got like a little frustrated. It was like, why isn't it this as easy as it looked for her? So I think that's really good advice, especially if you've been a bridesmaid before, if you've gone with other brides, like wipe that memory clean from your brain before you do it for yourself.
For sure.
What kind of music do you play in the store?
So because we are a private appointment boutique and we help one bride at a time, that is one of the things that we really love tailoring for each individual client. So we'll ask them like, hey, what artist do you like? And we had a bride that wanted to listen to Beyonce. So we had Beyonce the whole entire time. We had another bride that wanted to listen to country. So we put country on. It's not my favorite genre, but it's not for me. It's not my appointment. It's not about me. It's about our brides. So we really love to even tailor like the stations that we play for each individual client. And then we will always ask our brides, like, what is your first dance song? And if they know, if they've picked it out, we will play it for them when they find their dress.
I'm like blown away. I'm obsessed with that.
It's all about making the experience special for every bride and being able to get them to their wedding day and show them what that experience will be like when they walk down the aisle without walking down the aisle, if that makes sense.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that. I don't have anything else to say about that. That's amazing. I think that's so cool and thoughtful. And that's awesome to be a bride. And I wish somebody had played my first dance song for me when I picked my dress. That is awesome. So special. How far out should brides be buying their wedding dress?
That's such a good question. We get asked that all the time. My answer is always the same. There's no right answer, especially because our boutique, we offer we have about 125 dresses available for off the rack. So I've helped brides as soon as 3 days before their wedding find their dress. Ooh, my AirPod just fell.
That's okay. We can still hear you.
Good. So I've helped brides 3 days before their wedding, and I've helped brides 3 years before their wedding. So it's whenever you are ready to find your gown. Just know that when you come in to look for your dress, you will find it. Doesn't matter if it's 2 years before. It doesn't matter if it's 2 days before. We're gonna make sure you find it. That's what we're here for.
Wow, that's awesome. How late is too late after the wedding to get your dress cleaned?
So the sooner the better. Honestly, there are so many stains that we don't actually see. So white wine stains, champagne stains, sometimes you don't see those for days, weeks, months. So I always encourage people to bring it in immediately after the wedding, like have your wedding planner or one of your bridesmaids or your mom drop it off. Someone that's there at the wedding, drop it off to us as soon as possible. We've had people bring in dresses a few months, even years after the wedding, and we're still able to get most of the stains out. There are some stains that will set over time that won't be able to come off, but they will be lighter. So they will be able to be lightened up and things like that. But the sooner the better, honestly.
Yeah. Do you offer or have like recommendations when couples want to preserve their dress or like put it on display? I'm springing this question on you, but
No, that's totally fine. We do offer the service at our store. We offer cleaning and then cleaning and preservation. And the company we work with actually does restoration of wedding dresses as well. We've been able to get a lot of moms and grandmothers' dress back to wearable conditions, which is incredible.
yeah.
But we offer cleaning and preservation. We offer restoration. We offer all of it here at the store.
Yeah. Pro tip for brides, set that appointment right now to bring it back in and get it clean, because you will blink and it will be 3 years later.
My dress, it's been 14 years. It's still hanging in my closet. Filthy dirty.
Like after the wedding day, you do not think about things like that. And then it'll be a year later and you're like, I should have cleaned that. I should do something with this.
Yeah, for sure. Should have.
That's awesome. I only have a few more questions for you, but really quickly, I just want to say to the audience watching, if you guys have questions for Roberta, definitely drop them in the comments and we will answer those as well. How many alteration sessions should a bride expect?
3 to 4 is standard. So your final fitting, actually, people are always surprised to learn that your last fitting is normally the week of your wedding. If your wedding is in town, like your final fitting will be the week of your wedding. But we start about 8 weeks prior to the wedding, and they're usually 3 to 4 fittings. So definitely set that time aside. Because it's about 3 to 4 fittings. If you are doing, in our case, we offer a lot of custom changes. So if you're doing a lot of custom changes, it could be a little bit longer. It could be 10 to 12 weeks before the wedding, and it could take 5 to 6 fittings. So it really depends on what you're doing, but standard alterations, it's 8 weeks before the wedding and about 4 fittings.
Wow. So the week of your wedding, when you pick up your wedding dress, like that's the first time you're kind of seeing it like done. If you had a lot of alterations and kind of a long process to go, the week of the wedding is the first time you're seeing it done.
Correct.
Does that make a lot of brides nervous?
Not at all, because you have so many fittings in between and you're seeing progress. So when you come in for the first fitting, all the seamsters will do is basically like pin where the dress needs to be tailored. Your second fitting, you're going to see that tailoring done. But for example, the seams won't be finished, because if you lost a little bit more weight, the seams are still open for her to be able to tailor it back down. The second fitting, the seamstress will also pin your hem and she'll show you your bustle. The third fitting, you come in and you see everything done. You learn how to do your bustle, which we will have you film it. So the day of the wedding, if there are any questions, you can pop that video out and be able to watch and learn how to bustle your dress.
Yeah.
And if there are any minor adjustments, it'll happen between the third and fourth fitting. In your fourth fitting, you should just be putting it on. Everything is perfect, and you take your dress with you.
Yeah. That's awesome. And that, I think what you said about like pinning it up and like leaving room, like, but at that point you can visualize it. Like you can see what the shape of the dress is going to be and all those changes.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Anything else that you want brides to know who are searching for that perfect dress?
Just be ready to find it. Come in excited. And if you have any questions, my cell phone number as well as Tali's cell phone number is actually on our website. So you can text us, you can DM us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you need. We're definitely here to be able to help you and answer all of your questions.
Yeah. Where can they find you? Your website is thebridalfinery.com. And then what about Instagram and socials and all that?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything is just at the Bridal Finery. And then just at YouTube, you can just search the Bridal Finery.
That's awesome. And their Instagram is amazing. Actually, I have one last question. Do you guys always try on every dress that comes in, or are you doing that just like lately? Because I'm obsessed with it.
We do always try to, put them on. At least one of us tries it on, and we try to put it on our social media as quickly as possible, because when you're looking at photos of models, sometimes it's just not realistic. There's so much photoshopping. There's, a huge height difference. most of these models are like 6 feet with 4 to 5 inch heels. So it's just not realistic for most people. So we do like to try on the dresses and show our brides what we look like in the dresses, and hopefully that'll help them picture themselves in the dresses.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. Everybody who's out in the market for a wedding dress, definitely go visit the Bridal Finery. They're going to take amazing care of you. They'll play all your favorite songs and find your perfect dress. So definitely reach out to Roberta and Tali. They're amazing. Thank you, everyone who joined us tonight and asked questions. Roberta, we're so grateful for your partnership, and have a good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Good night.